I was reading Daniel 7 over and over and over while I was in federal prison in South Carolina, trying to understand what is going on here, because it finally dawned on me. Daniel 7 is telling the same story 4 different times, adding new details each time. It's like a paint job, and I give the illustration in my book. When you do a paint job on a car, you do a light coat, and then you go back, do another coat, and then do another coat. I remember I was out witnessing one time, and this guy had his Model T in his garage, and he was real proud of it. He said, "That's got 19 coats of hand-polished lacquer on it." 19 coats of paint. And it gives it kind of a depth. You can almost see through it. It's weird, three-dimensional. Well, I think Daniel 7 is giving us 4 coats of paint, 4 passes over the same events, adding new details each time. So I have them lined up. Daniel chapter 7, verse 2 through 14 is the first column, the first coat of paint. He goes back and gives a very brief explanation here in Daniel 7:15 to 18. There's going to be 4 beasts, and then the Lord's going to set up his kingdom. Then in verse 19 through 22, there's 4 beasts, going to set up the kingdom, but in between he inserts, oh, by the way, the saints are going to get beat up. Whoa, now that's something being added in here, mixed into this. That's the metallic flecks added into this coat of paint, the 3rd level. So let's look at Daniel 7, verse 19. Then I would know the truth of the 4th beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet, and of the 10 horns which were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, and whose look was more stout than his fellows. Verse 21. And I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them. Now, wait a minute, I thought the Lord set up his kingdom. Well, he does, after this beast prevails against the saints. The yellow being added in. The yellow on the chart is 4D, right here, the time of tribulation. This is when it began to dawn on me, we're here for the tribulation. And with lots more evidence coming later on that. Verse number 22, Daniel 7:22. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Well, back here in verse 15 to 18, we got the beast, the 4th beast, and then the saints possess the kingdom. Here we got the 4th beast, and the saints possess the kingdom after they get beat up. He prevails against them. Tells the same story again, another coat of paint, starting in verse 23. And thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings, and shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. Verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. By the way, I think the Muslims plan on changing the calendar if they control the world. They've got a different calendar they go by. And certainly their Sharia law is very different than most countries' laws. We'll see if that's it. He shall think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time, and times, and the dividing of a time. Well, time, times, and the dividing of a time. That is the 3.5 years referred to in the book of Daniel and Revelation several times. We covered that earlier. 3.5 years. Time, times, and the dividing of a time. Time being a year, times being 2 more, and the dividing of a time, half, so 3.5 years. So the saints are going to be given into his hand to be persecuted for 3.5 years. Verse 26, Daniel 7:26. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. So Antichrist has got his plans. He's going to beat up the saints, but God's going to come set up his kingdom anyway. He doesn't care what Satan is doing. He's not scared of him at all. Verse 27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. I thought they already had it. Back here from verse 22. Yeah, he's telling another coat of paint. There's 4 coats of paint in the book of Daniel chapter 7. Tells the story, tells it again, adds a few details, tells it again, hoping we will eventually get the message. Fourth beast destroys, harms the saints, beats them up. God sets up his kingdom, and the saints possess the kingdom. We're going to get to rule and reign with Christ for 1,000 years, especially those who are martyred. Revelation 20. He saw those that were beheaded for the witness of Christ, and they ruled and reigned with Christ for the 1,000 years. So here we are back in Daniel. He's starting to tell us the story about what's going to happen in the future. Verse 27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. Daniel 7 is telling us there's going to come a time when these four beasts fight. One of them is going to rise to prominence out of the four, probably let's assume it is the Muslim Empire. They're going to persecute the saints, and then God's going to come set up his kingdom. I think it ties back to Daniel chapter 2. There's going to be 10 kings, these 10 toes, iron and clay will not mix. During the time of these kings, the stone cut out of the mountain without hands is going to smite the image on the feet, crumble the whole thing, and the stone grows to become a great mountain, and that's the kingdom of God. So we got the same story told over and over again in symbolism. There's going to be a world empire. They're going to desolate the temple. During the time of desolation and before, many are going to fall away and quit serving God. Jesus said in Luke 18, telling the story about the unjust judge and the widow, in verse 8, Luke 18:8, Jesus said, just throws in a little sentence, a question that's never answered. Most of Jesus' questions are never answered in the Bible. Jesus said, when the Son of Man shall come, shall he find faith on the earth? When Jesus comes back, is there going to be anybody left alive serving him? I think most are going to fall away or get discouraged and quit or be killed.